Right. Welcome back to another episode of Poncha Talk. My name is Ellie. I'm host of Poncha Talk, and in this podcast, we talk about all things related to remote work and the digital nomad lifestyle, and any personal growth topics that come with this journey. And today, I'm excited to have another guest episode with Nikki. We met here at a workout on Madeira, and she's also on the island as a freelancer and relationship coach. So, thank you for joining the conversation today.
Thank you for having me. Yes, I'm very excited.
Start with just you telling us a little bit about how you came to Madeira and what you do here.
Yes, I think it was very random actually how I ended up on Madeira, because I have traveled quite a bit before. I've lived in France, I've lived in Madrid as well, and then I moved back to the Netherlands. I'm originally from the Netherlands, and I kind of felt like I want to be living abroad again. I want to live in a beautiful place. I want to build a routine where I live more outside, connected to nature, but also where there's really a community. And so I kind of, set this intention, like I want to do that. I went to walk the Camino de Santiago, the Portuguese one.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes, it was super nice. And then it was like, I knew I was not going to return to the Netherlands from there, but it was really open. So I started looking at the like Facebook groups for digital nomads, and then a room popped up on Madeira. And I was like, that sounds nice and tropical. How about Madeira? And I actually did not even research it. I just booked it, and I booked a ticket because the ticket was 20 euros, and I was like, sure, I'll just go there. A week before, I actually looked into it, and I was like, oh, right, okay, I'm in Ponta de Sol. It's the digital nomad like village. So I kind of just randomly arrived here and found exactly what I was looking for. I love also that I actually ended up in the village and not in Funchal in the big city, because I think this vibe suits me very well, and you really like know everybody here. And I think it's quite unique also, the vibe that is here in Ponta, because it is a little village, but it does have that great variety of people coming in, and like there's a lot of turnover. So it has this very international character because of all these new people coming in, which brings in a lot of expertise as well. Because we were talking about this, like it kind of feels like this uni life of like, let's go to school, like we go to the co-working, and then we just go have some lunch, we go hang out at the beach. But at the same time, so interesting because there's so many people here that have built their life on their own terms, that are building, passion projects, that have their own businesses. So it's like that really fun life of like living with your friends and like really doing so many cool things and fun things. But at the same time, everybody's doing something that is very close to their heart, and they're making an impact, and they're really brave for doing this in, on their terms. So yeah, I'm very glad to have arrived here and to kind of explore where it will take me, because I think that's also like, I don't have a set plan. Everybody's always like, how long are you staying over there for? I don't know. I like it. So it's a very unique environment.
Nice.
And it's because I was thinking back then, oh, I want to live somewhere in nature, and maybe self-sufficient, and like growing my own vegetables, all of that. But then it was missing kind of that really sense of community and building something. So I was very pleasantly surprised to see that it worked out in this way.
This is a good place to be. And it is, you mentioned like the people here, it's so inspiring because everybody has like a passion project, either full time or on the side. But everybody is kind of chasing to find something or do something that they really love.
Yes.
And we spoke about this a little bit before. So you work as a freelancer.
Yes.
But your passion project, so to say, is the relationship coaching, right?
Yes. Yes. And this is something that I've been doing for 5 years now, but it was always kind of on the side. I never took it seriously in that way. And so coming here for me was like, okay, let's build a serious foundation for this business, and let's really create it into something sustainable. And it's interesting also to see how being here, it really helps me to also connect to, okay, but who am I and how do I want to build this business? Because I've started, building a website and like creating programs and everything, but I can feel right now that it's not completely aligned with who I am. And what has been very nice here, and what I think also is like a great perk of Come to the Soul, is that you can try things out because you have this community of people, of friends, and we all want to give back to the community as well. So organizing things and kind of soft launching things and seeing what works and what brings value, I think that's really nice, and it makes it so much easier in a way. To start doing it.
That's true. That's kind of what I did with the podcast as well. Like, I don't think anywhere else I would have found that many guests to be on a podcast that just launched like 2 weeks ago. So
yes. And I think that's the thing, because everybody's very open-minded. I've also talked to a lot of people who have come from a place where at home, people have their jobs, they have their mortgage, they have their set life. So they don't really understand it if you feel like, oh, I want to do things differently. Oh, I want to build this. It's like, why? And like, what about your insurance and all of that?
Yeah.
And it's very demotivating. And it's, I think, when you want to step out into the world, yes.
Welcome to Madeira. It's starting to rain.
It's rain now.
Maybe, should we move over here? Sorry, quick intermission.
Gotta accommodate.
Okay, so your relationship coaching business.
Yes.
You mentioned you came here to really find your way with it. So what have you done previously, and where would you like to bring it?
Yes. So before, I've worked one-on-one or with couples. I'm really trained to work with couples, but my real passion lies in the one-on-one, where you do the deep inner work of like facing your fears, your insecurities, your patterns, and then you can really go deep. And it's something that has to do with every part of your life. But your relationship is, I think, a way to get deep into this work, because it's the biggest mirror that we can have. It's the most like confronting mirror into our relationship with ourselves, actually, the way that we see ourselves. But that also really we are confronted with when we start to work for ourselves, when we want to build a business, when we are an entrepreneur and want to sell the things that we have created to the world. So this is something that I have been doing for 10 years now, because when I was 21, I had a burnout. And this was back when this was not normal at all.
Like 21 already?
Yes.
Very early to have a burnout.
It was a very early adopter in the burnouts. Yes, definitely. It was really right when I started working. And it was definitely the result of survival patterns that I've had my whole life. Where I was a perfectionist, a people pleaser, and really like it never was good enough. I always had to perform and really give it my best, but for me it was never enough. So if that's how you've always been operating, and then you're a fighter of like, I will push it even more and work even harder, at some point it's not going to be able, you're not going to be able to continue doing that. So looking back, I'm very glad that this happened at such a young age, because it forced me to shift, to really look into, okay, so what do I want to do? Who am I? And why can't I do what other people can do? Because to me, it felt like a personal failure. Whereas I figured out along the way that it was a blessing in disguise, because I think the things we struggle with in life create our strength. Going through these kind of challenges bring out things that we normally never would have known we had. So having started my career in this way, for me was actually very good, because it helped me to go really deep to the core of why I was getting stuck in this, and to really build a way that is sustainable and that's very true to who I am. And I think that's what I'm now also figuring out with the business, because it's kind of developing in that way. Whereas before I worked with people one-on-one and we did a couple sessions or a program. But I also organized singles retreats, which, oh my God, that's like, fun. I love it. That's where everything came together, because I studied hotel and event management, because I loved, the hospitality and bringing people together. And I always had this passion for retreats, because you spend like a limited amount of time together in a very intimate way, because you have breakfast together, you spend all day together, and then you dive deep into a specific subject. So with these singles retreats, it was very fun because the company hired me to be the manager on site basically, and we had like a private chef to make all the food. We had all these activities, and I did this with 50 people, and I also did it for 100 people. So it became this really big thing. Um, but what I loved most about it was to create an environment where people could really connect and connect on a deeper level where people felt really safe to be themselves. Because I think that's in my own journey is what I had to learn because I was so like built on you have to perform, you have to really do what people are expect of you.
Yeah.
That it taught me to find who I am and be really comfortable with myself and then inspire others to do the same and to feel the same way because I think that's the thing that my work is always focused on, like helping people to find that inner sense of safety. Because when you want to venture out into the world, or if you can go move to Madeira and create your own business, it's very scary. You do things very differently than other people, and we don't know what the next step is going to be because you're kind of pioneering in that. So there are no examples. You cannot find anywhere how you need to do it. But you need to trust in yourself. And I think what for me has made the most difference is to have community.
Yeah.
To have that community that understands you, that supports you, that lives life in a similar way, that has a similar outlook on life. I really noticed the difference as well. Like when I was in the Netherlands, it felt like such a big thing to make all these steps and like create a business. Whereas here, it feels like fun. It feels like, okay, I want to create things for the people here and what I see that they're struggling with and what we are struggling with collectively. And like, let's find a way together to support each other in this. Because especially also coming from a culture like the Netherlands, which is very, individualistic, focused on you have to have your own house, you have to have your job, and like everything has to, here it's so community focused. And I don't know if that's the Portuguese culture that, we can feel into, but it's definitely the way that we're living here that is
I think
built on that.
I think it's more the nomad culture because we're in the international community here.
Yes.
But I also always get the question of, okay, we talk about community so much here, but people are here for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, and then they leave again.
Yes.
How do you perceive that?
It's been very interesting to see how this works because in the beginning I found it quite hard because you build a base of friends that you hang out with every day and then they leave and it's like, oh wow, what do I do now? But I actually found it very enriching. Oh my god, now we're getting the rain! It's raining.
Do we have to move more?
Yes. Yeah, the community and people leaving.
Yeah.
Yes. In the beginning, I found it kind of challenging, but it's also, I found it very interesting in how it teaches you non-attachment. In the sense that we learn to really be in the moment with the people that are there, and then to gracefully let them go as well without holding on so much to, oh, I need to have these people around me. I don't know, it really taught me to appreciate the moment, but also create this sense of like solid foundation in myself. And what I've seen in going through a couple, batches of new people coming in and leaving is that I've really learned that somehow new people come in and I might even have a better connection with them. Or it's a new side of myself that I get to kind of explore because people are very different or have different interests, or it's very enriching in that way. Whereas, maybe you would prefer to have your friends and stick to them and be with them all the time, which is amazing. And I'm so glad that there's also people who live here and have more stable.
Yeah.
I think you really need to have that. But then to have different people coming in that you spend a lot of time with for a short period of time teaches me a lot.
Yeah, because everybody's a little different, and then also like especially when you talk about wanting to try out your own things or building a business
Yes.
or maybe with a podcast, everybody new who comes in, they give you new ideas or just like inspiration of oh I could do this or that, and like,
Yes.
so
Yes.
that's a really nice aspect of it.
Absolutely. And there's also sides of it where you get triggered, where maybe
Mhm.
you don't get along so well. But I think those are maybe even the most valuable ones.
True.
Because it triggers you in a way that maybe there are people who have very different core values or have a very different look on life. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's been challenging in the best kind of way, where you're really being pushed out of your comfort zone. Because where it's easy to stick to what you know and to hold on to that and build onto that, you're being challenged to like open up again and again, which that's the most challenging part of it.
Opening up to new people,
Yes.
letting them into your life.
If you know people are staying just a week, then it's kind of hard because it's like, okay, how much am I going to invest in this knowing that they're leaving very soon? And I think that's the biggest struggle here to really connect, but it doesn't keep me from actually connecting with them. I still want to like be open and really see also what these connections bring in lessons, in inspiration, in a new point of view on things. So I think having this community in this kind of village life where it's very close and we just have our set ways of doing things and our routines, and at the same time having all these new people coming in,
Yeah.
it's so good, it's so healthy, it's so enriching to our lives and what we are exposed to as well. Not just from seeing it online or hearing stories from people, but really connecting with these people and having a look into their lifestyle and everything. And I think that's very unique.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point actually, because I mean, you learn so much about yourself also by just how you interact with different types of
Yes.
people. Like I talked about this in my last episode also a little bit. I learned so much about myself now that I'm, for example, working in a Portuguese environment because the people are so different that I now have to work with and I have to figure out like
Yes.
how to do it. So I guess it's like a kind of like an accelerator where you meet new people every week.
Yes.
You learn so much about yourself, about others, how
Absolutely.
to interact. So that's
Yes.
a big benefit on your growth journey.
Definitely. Definitely. And I find this in dating even more so.
Oh.
Yes. Because it's very interesting to date like on an island where it's a small community. But I've challenged myself in this in doing it from a different perspective. Where before maybe I was dating to see like, how much do they like me or what are they like or whatever. But really seeing it in a way of how do I feel in their presence? How do I feel talking to them? What does it do with me, this interaction? And really learning from that.
Yeah.
And then seeing, does it connect? Do we have a lot, like, do we have things in common? Do we feel like this is fun without having it be so much of like, oh, is this person into me or not? Or I don't know.
True. Yeah. I guess, I mean, dating in the nomad community is also a whole different thing.
Yes.
There, it's even worse if they leave after a week. I think with friendships, it's easier to open up, but
Yes.
with dating, it's like personally, I know for myself, if I know they're only here for like a week or two, I'm not gonna open up. Maybe I'm in it for the fun.
Yes.
But I'm not gonna open up.
No, same.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of difficult because it puts somehow a bit of a sense of urgency to it. It's like, okay, like, what do you want? Do you want to, like, are you interested or, like, not? Like, it brings a different kind of way of dating, I feel like, in this community as well. And also because it's a very small community, so everybody knows each other. Actually, this is interesting because I thought this is the village life. Everybody is like talking about what's all going on, but it's not.
No?
It's very discreet, and everybody's just doing their thing. I feel like that's not really a thing.
This is again where the whole like open-minded, non-judgmental attitude comes in very handy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, but earlier you also said that you have like you meet some people also that stay here.
Yes.
For longer term, like those And this is why dating is so hard, because you never really know, does this even have a future?
Yes.
And with friendships, it's the same. Like, we still need those
Yes.
connections here, right?
Yes.
This is what I struggle with the most. Yeah.
I can imagine. I'm very glad that I found that I share a house with like people that I really, really like and really connect with, and that here in the community there are people that live here. So naturally, you really, bond with them very much, and I'm so grateful that I've really found these like very valuable connections in that. Because if not, I think it's more difficult.
Yeah.
Because then it really becomes this like roller coaster of like new people, and then because there's always this period of like new people coming in, everybody has to kind of figure out their way and like the people, and it's just this kind of startup period of getting to know each other. It takes investing in connections, and that's a lot if you have to keep on doing that. And yeah, having for the 100th time, oh, how long have you been on Madeira? Oh, how long are you staying? Yeah.
We'll get like social burnout from that. Is that
Yes.
a thing?
I think, yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I think this is also my biggest challenge on the island of figuring out a way to balance things, because like there's so much to do. There's so many people, and then it's like a whole week of like doing so many things and meeting new people, and it's fun, and then afterwards I'm like so tired and I have to just rest for a couple of days, and it's not sustainable or not great, but I'm still trying to find like the balance in that. Because then again, it's like, okay, but I have to, really enjoy it, make the most of it, because people are leaving.
Yeah.
So
there's always this sense of urgency with
Yes.
everything, because nothing is permanent, I guess.
No.
You know,
But that's life, right? It's like impermanence is what life is made of. And I feel like because of this kind of sense of urgency, I am really living in the moment. And I'm really like, okay, I'm gonna go see my friends and hang out, because I know that it's gonna change at some point. So I want to live life to the fullest. Yes, I will go swim in the ocean. Yes, I will go have this dinner, and then I know I'll be tired, but it feels like a very full life.
Sure.
And it gives a lot of energy as well. So it's like you really got to find the balance, like what energizes you, but also take your rest.
I noticed that for myself too. I need to rest every now and then.
Yes.
Also, every now and then, I just need to call my friends at home who I've known for years and years, and you can just talk without thinking about it. Or maybe you're just like randomly FaceTiming somebody, and kind of everybody's doing their own thing, but you just have like the comfort of somebody there.
Yes.
These are like the type of things in relationship, I think, that are really hard to get here, because it takes time.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's probably the biggest challenge of being a nomad.
Yeah.
And changing like your base so much that it is very good to have these long-term friendships from home to really return to, and to really, have that comfort.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you call friends at home too?
Yes. Yeah. And I do, like, this is something I was always very good at this. Like keeping track and then sending like long voice memos. But I always did that when I went for a walk, and I don't do that here because the walks are definitely serious hikes. You cannot do that. So it's like I have to get better at catching up on that. But it definitely it's
I know. Yeah, it's a challenge too. So in the moment, I try to like catch up with WhatsApp while I'm walking.
Yes.
But then I have to like plan an extra 10 minutes for the walk or so, because if I have to like walk slowly to not trip and fall uphill and whatnot. So sometimes I do that, and I still like use my walks to that. But it's difficult because there's so much going on. I'm trying to start my own thing. I'm trying to meet up with friends, building friendships, and then I still have to like message my grandma every week. Like I can't.
Yes.
My grandma.
It's definitely like when I was living in the Netherlands, I feel that I was definitely lonely in there, in that I missed those contacts and like just the random like, oh, go to the co-working, say hi to a few people. Like it doesn't have to be much. Just having people around and knowing people, walking through the restaurant street, knowing everybody that's there, like it. That's something that to me is very important, and I didn't know know that until I arrived here.
Yes.
Until I had it, and I felt that it really gives me so much.
It does, yes. It has challenges, but in the end, I think it's in so many ways rewarding.
Oh my god!
Personally,
If I look back on how much I've grown as a person over the past months, is more than what I would have in the year before.
Well, you arrived here in November.
Yes.
And this is your first nomad experience, right?
So I've lived in different countries before. I lived in France, which was very similar, but this was when I was 21, when I just had my burnout. So it was a very similar setup, but then nobody knew what they were doing with their lives. We were just hanging out.
Yeah.
And then I lived in Madrid for a while as well, which was also very much an expat community, but it didn't have the community sense that we have here. During those times, I figured out, okay, this lifestyle really suits me, but I was still missing the more like kind of established community as it is here, where you also have these like weekly weekly rituals. The workouts, the community lunch. There's different things that you do, and it gives you the structure for the week, and then in between, life just flows as it goes, and I don't know, life is also much slower, I would say, here.
Yeah, and I think that is also the Portuguese lifestyle influence in a lot of ways. Yes, and I like that too.
And that gives a lot of space to really enjoy life for the in the first instance. It's like, really enjoy it and be present in it, and then really feel into, okay, what is it that I want to create? And how do I want to do it? Instead of going from my head, really being focused on, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. How do I need to do it? What is expected? Blah, blah, blah. I really like that. And I think in that way, it's very sustainable. And in the same way, it's also very attuned to the people that you serve. Because you create it for them, with them. Yeah, I really like that.
Nice. So do you know yet for your relationship coaching how you want to take the next steps?
Yeah, this is a good question. I think I definitely want to organize retreats. I've also organized like these really fun games, like a murder mystery dinner, which is kind of a small version of like a singles retreat.
Yeah.
Or a scavenger hunt or something, to do like fun, play a game and then getting to know each other better and then having that deeper layer of it. That's what I really love. That brings it all together. So I think for now I want to focus on doing that because it feels like it comes really naturally. That's what I feel like I'm drawn to right now, but definitely also hosting more workshops, stuff like that, when it's really looking into a certain pattern or like what do you get stuck in and why is that and how can you break free from that. But the community will be really a vital part of what I do because I think that's just who I am and what I love and what we all need.
Absolutely. And you're in the right spot for that. You can start anything on Madeira.
Yes.
And you have the support. Like,
you have the support, there's resources, there's always someone in the community that can help and that is excited to help out. So that is really amazing to have that as kind of your foundation. And then from there, the sky's the limit. Like, let's create something together that we really are excited about,
Yes.
That's what makes this community really so amazing.
I mean, I've been through like all the phases, I think. Because I have lived like the nomad lifestyle where I was the one always traveling.
Yes.
And then you really have no constant whatsoever because every month or two I would go a different place.
Yes.
And I found that in a lot of ways tiring after a while. Not just because you have to do all the travel planning and figuring out where to move and where to stay. Then you have like the social aspect of constantly having to meet new people, which for me in a way that's always a bit draining because I'm more introverted.
Yes.
I cannot have the same small talk 20 times a day. Yeah, so that was a challenge after a while, even though then once I had the community I loved it. And honestly I feel like my full on like inspiration to change my life lately, because I then quit my like full-time job, and I traveled with a remote job.
Yes.
But eventually I quit that to focus more on what I really want to do, and I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for like all the influences from the Nomad community in the last couple of years. So that was a positive aspect. But I did feel for myself after a while like I'm a little tired. I need to stay in one place now.
Yes.
And I'm really looking forward to settle down here and like hopefully have some longer term friendships for one. My dating life has been non-existent, so every now and then you swipe on the app, you have a fun night, and that's about it. Oh, then also then again, it's the like whole getting caught up in the moment again, because dating is time intensive, especially when you have a sense of urgency here. But I would swipe one night, but then the next day is already filled with workout, volleyball, and going out at night. I don't have time to respond to anybody.
Yeah.
So I leave them on red for the next couple of days. And then they already left the island.
Yes.
So.
Yes, exactly. But
we're focusing on our own journey, and trusting that things will fall into place when it's meant to be.
Exactly. That's what it is. And I think there's no better place than to be doing the things that you love.
Yeah.
And that you really enjoy, and then you just run into people and things just have to be. Yeah, so what's your vision now for the foreseeable future?
For the foreseeable future, well, I hope to stay on Madeira for at least 1 to a couple of years.
Yes.
To really like be integrated in the community for one, and like my personal life, friendships, just kind of settle down for a little bit and find some calm and peace for me. Then I really love that I'm working in like a different environment now, from like corporate to now really working so closely with the community and with all those people with passion projects.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to see where we can take that, for one with the Madeira Friends community, and also with like my personal, with the podcast, for example, and then I write my travel blog. So it's just like a lot of fun projects that I've been doing. So I'm excited to see which one of those is gonna pop and take over. I'm not sure. I'm open to any of them because I enjoy doing all of it, but in the long term, I cannot keep doing like so many things at the same time. So I'll have to find my focus, I think, on what's gonna bring me the most joy and perspective and opportunities also. So it's still a blank space right now that's gonna fill. So just letting that happen as it should.
Nice.
Perfect. Then thank you very much for taking the time for the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's really fun.
Lovely to have your insights. Yes. And I will link your social media in the description of the episode, so people can reach out to you if they have any questions, or if they want to join one of the upcoming singles retreat from Madeira.
Yes. Yes.
And then thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this bit of chaotic episode. But hopefully you get some value out of it. And don't forget to follow Poncha Talk as well for more stories from Madeira. And I'll see you again next week. Thank you. Bye.